And hello guys, this week I explore for myself a creepy game called Dead Space. Before starting this segment, I want to make a remark. I'm a fan of the series and this piece of a declaration of love for these games. If you want to read an opinion about the remake, skip the text to the second subtitle. Intensive therapy, a gloomy future where humanity is streaming for its decline, endlessly devouring all available resources and seeking its salvation in mysterious alien artifacts? Give me Sooo. I love this universe, as well as working with lore. It turned out so foldable and solid. All this atmosphere and hopefulness, tension and a touch of schizophrenia is familiar to a resident of Krishka from Russia. So we left the apartment in the dark entrance on a winter evening, packed into a jacket of a set of thermal underwear. Why not a heavy suit of a space engineer? At -25 to drive to the nearest store, went into the elevator with already 40 years old. It is painted orange, which has long been mixed with rust, and on the walls for years people have scratched their messages on top of the wooden covering, which are no longer readable. With a crash, he closes his doors and humming monotonously. He goes to the first floor. From the elevator to the entrance door is only 10 meters. But what is there? In pitch darkness. You turn on the flashlight on your push-button cell phone and try to get out of the hallway into fresh air as quickly as possible. And there, softly falling snow on the ground. Silence and the absence of sounds. Although 1 million people live in your city. Yes, I was the still impressionable kid of 12, but there was a reason for this. In our class, among the same juvenile gamers, she was passionate as dude. Yes, I cried 5 times only in the prologue. What a scary bitch. I turned it off after an hour and didn't play anymore. At that time, there was no daredevil who passed it from my friends. Even the dude who passed the first fear and condiment quit somewhere in the middle. At that time, I abandoned it at somewhere in the first chapter. And I did not want to return at all. The problem was the fear of the unknown. You're walking along the ship, an empty corridor, but the sounds. Here are mournful groan echoes. In the ventilation there is a scar, in the distance there is a mental reading, and as if a man is being torn apart behind the wall. He screams in pain, and everything calms down as quickly as started. And also a whisper, as if the ship and the already dead crew are trying to talk to the players themselves. Even the jump scares and enemy designs didn't have the same effect on me as the general atmosphere of hopeless and death that surrounds in the place and drives me crazy. I quit the game, but in 2011 came to the second part, which I fell in love with it. It had to be the perfect balance of fear, action and atmosphere. The story was fast-paced and you go right ahead. Now it's not a story about an ordinary engineer driven into a trap. You are the thunder of the obelisks and the only one who can end the world nightmare at Titan Station. Everything together just dragged you forward and did not let go until the credits. And even the credits turned out to be fake, just a diamond. I even liked the third part in the end years later. On the release in Sooo, it suffocated me after a couple of hours with its despondency, but in a co-op was so very nice to play in a maximum difficulty with the same fun of the universe. In the future it seemed that the series died completely, and nothing new was expected from this franchise. Later, it turned out that there are 2 more cartoons. I watched them with pleasure. Despite the cheap production, they expanded the universe and told new stories about other people who by chance got into battles with the obelisk. At the same time, they retained the same atmosphere of hopeless from the games. I even went through the mobile Dead Space, which for a story mobile phone for 2-3 hours is quite a very even one. Well, when Stop Game released this history of the series, where all the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, I started the classic fucking EA ruined everything again. So I buried the stories for myself, interrupting myself by reading rare interviews of veterans of Viscera games about what Part 4 could become. The graphics are great. This is not a bloody NES game at your fingertips, but certainly a modern and competitive level. The interiors have been noticeably added in detail in comparison with the original game. The cabins and rooms feel more lived-in than the store environments of the original. Before release, I saw a lot of reviews that everything is fine with the graphics in the original, but I suggest you experiment. Open the video comparing the first part and Remake. In your memory, the 2008 project is simply well preserved, and the difference is noticeable to the naked eye. The sound is just as good as the original. Silence is interrupted by the voice of artificial intelligence, which dictates the daily routine in many languages. Something heavy can run overhead. Crazy whisper, as if dictating his words directly to the player's brain. Isaac's heart reacts to what's happening, whether it's an intense fight, a long run, or the voice of a loud one.